blood. Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
The threat of war looms.
There is no war so hateful as a war between kin.
I mean to fight this war and win it.
I will not be thought weak. I wish to spill blood.
And no war so bloody as a war between dragons.
Duty is sacrifice. It eclipses all things, even blood. All men of honour must pay its price. North owes a great duty to the Seven Kingdoms, one older than any oath. Since the days of the first men, we have stood as guardians against the cold and the dark. But my ancestor, Torrin Stark, began a tradition by making an offering at the onset of winter. 1 in 10 men from our household was to be chosen to fortify the watch. This is not a sentence, but an honour. A duty embraced by all who serve the North. Even by mine own kin. The North must stand ready. Winter is coming.
Aegon is still malleable. It is the death of the child that has unstrung him.
I can't stay here. Exiled from the council. Witness to the blundering of our plans, I'll return to Old Town. The High Towers still have strength, and you have a son there who'll take more kindly to instruction. Daeron may yet help us in weeks to come.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen, our first official confirmation in episode confirmation of Daeron the Daring is coming. I cannot wait to see Daeron. I cannot wait to see the Blue Queen Tessarion. I think this is a scene that we have been waiting a very long time for. I mean, come on, just give him one simple throwaway line, guys. That's all we need. That's all we need. And thankfully, we finally got that throwaway line and the confirmation of young Daeron the Daring coming soon. Although, probably not too soon. We probably won't see him in Season 2 from what I'm hearing. But he will certainly be very prominent in Season 3. But welcome one, welcome all. So glad to have each and every one of you here. Tonight is the night. It is Sunday. Westerosi Sundays are back. We are just less than 2 hours away from diving back into House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3, and I could not be more excited. It's just great. It's just a great time to be alive, a great time to be a Song of Ice and Fire fan as a whole. A lot of exciting things happening in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. And of course, we are going to hang out over the next 2 hours or so and talk about anything that you guys want to talk about while we wait for the next episode of House of the Dragon to upload on HBO. So let's dive into it, shall we? Let's dive into it, shall we? And of course, I have the Season 3 teaser trailer loaded up. We will play that here in a few minutes, and we'll take a look at it and dissect it a little bit and have some Episode 3 predictions. I want to know what you guys have to think. You guys know me. I want to know what you guys are thinking. What are you looking forward to in Episode 3? What are you looking forward to for the rest of the season? I want to know. Definitely sound off in the comments throughout the night. Let's see who we got in this awesome chat here. I got Naemon Targaryen, first and foremost. What is up, Naemon? Welcome, my friend. Always good to have you here. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go indeed. Hell yes. Hell yes. Just a few hours away now. Hell yes. Just a few hours away indeed. Less than 2 hours away, guys. Less than 2 hours away. Awesome, awesome stuff. We got Keeson in the house. What is up, Keeson? Good to see you. Salute. Salute to you as well, my friend. All the way over from France. Love it. Absolutely love it. Welcome to everybody, whether you're tuning in from here in the States or somewhere abroad. So glad to have each and every one of you here, and awesome to be hanging out with you over the next hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes or so while we wait for House of the Dragon. Awesome, awesome stuff. And speaking of our awesome international crowd, we got Kiwi Skirt in the house. What is up, Kiwi? Always good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Awesome stuff, Kiwi Skirt. We got Zachary Welch in the house as well. What is up, Zachary? Good to see you as well, my friend. Zach's looking forward to episode 3 indeed. We got Comics Mate in the house. Dean James, Comics Mate, one of the most phenomenal artists out there working today. Really looking forward to your second issue of your comic, my friend, The Embrace. Really looking forward to that. Any comic book fans out there, check out Dean James, Comics Mate. He's a phenomenal artist. Phenomenal artist indeed. Let's see who else we got. I got Caitlin in the house. What is up, Caitlin? So sad. I'm going to have to be a day late on this episode. My check is 3 days late. Oh, well, that sucks. I am so sorry to hear that, Caitlin. And I've been there. I've been there, especially when it comes to YouTube. I mean, YouTube, you know, they usually kind of pay out every month on the same day, but every once in a while they'll be a few days late, and it sucks. I mean, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, which I very much am, yeah, you want your pay to arrive when it's supposed to. So I am very sympathetic. I've been there, and I'm sorry that you're not able to watch it tonight. But if you are able to watch it in a few days, definitely come back and hang out with us. We will be doing so many after shows on episode 3 throughout the week, and we'd love to get your input on after you see the episode. But yeah, that sucks. I've been there. There's nothing worse than that. Nothing worse than that. So I feel for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got Barbara Webb in the house. What is up, Barbara Webb? Hi from Peaster, Texas. Well, what is up, Texas? We got Texas in the building. I love it. I love it. Always love to see where you guys are from. It's always awesome to see where people are finding our small little humble channel from. It's awesome to see. Awesome to see. Got our good friend Kiwi tuning in all the way from down in New Zealand. Our New Zealand Kiwi. What is up, Kiwi? Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We got Zeke for Bleak in the house. What is up, Zeke for Bleak? What's up? What's up, all? First time here at a live. Love the vids, though hyped for episode 3. Well, thank you so much, my friend. That is awesome. So glad to have you here for the live. And hell yeah, I cannot freaking wait. I am so hyped for episode 3. Bring it on. It looks like we're going to have some very interesting Daemon and Harrenhal scenes in episode 3. And I am looking forward to that, indeed. We got Jamie Bone in the house. What is up, Jamie Bone? Tuning in from Utah. What is up, Jamie Bone? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome, 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 all the way from Utah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Hell yes. Hell yes. Got Barbara Webb in the house. What is up, Barbara? We got MKXD in the building. What is up, MK? Always good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me scroll down a little bit more and see who else I can see. I see my good pal Henry Bemis is here and accounted for. What is up, Henry Bemis? A fellow House Stark fan. Hell yes. I mean, you just can't go wrong with House Stark. I love the Targaryens too. Don't get me wrong. House Targaryen is a phenomenally interesting house. But when it comes to me, it is House Stark. House Stark has always been my favorite, probably always will be my favorite. And it was really great to see even that little bit of the North again in episode 1. It was fun. We got Radical Z in the house. What is up, Radical Z? Good to see you, my friend. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. I try to work hard on them. I really enjoy making them. So it's definitely not work when you really enjoy what you're doing, I guess. But thank you for that. I very much appreciate that. I love talking A Song of Ice and Fire with everybody. It truly is one of my most fun, most passionate pastimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got Harrenhal and Alice Rivers. So hyped for that, my fellas. Hell yes, Namond. I am right there with you, my friend. I cannot wait to see some of these scenes that are going to be happening in Harrenhal with Daemon and the first look at Alice Rivers. We got some of these awesome, awesome looking stills from the upcoming episode 3 that recently released. And here we have Daemon out there in front of the Harrenhal heart tree, most likely. We can see the weirwood leaves in the back. We got Daemon here in full Targaryen armor out there in the halls of Harrenhal. And awesome stuff. I love seeing these early, very, very 4K awesome looking stills. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, guys. We're getting closer and closer. Radical Z says, personally, I hope House of the Dragon gets at least 5 seasons so we can see a bit of Aegon III's reign and the Hooded Hand. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. And as much as I mean, I always thought that House of the Dragon would end with the ascension of Aegon III, and they would probably just end it there. But if they were to continue it a little bit longer and maybe do like one more season with, like you said, showcasing some of the reign of Aegon III, that could be pretty cool. I mean, I would enjoy that. I mean, I would love nothing more than to see Sandok the Shadow in live action. Anyone who's read Fire and Blood and anyone who's read Aegon's parts of Fire and Blood, Sandok the Shadow is one of the most fascinating, most badass warriors in all of the Song of Ice and Fire. Just this badass burly pit fighter who is protecting Aegon III. So yeah, as much as I think they're going to end with the ascension of Aegon III, I would love to see them do a little bit more. I mean, more Song of Ice and Fire is always good, in my opinion, especially when it's coming from a team this skilled like Ryan Condal and company. So hell yeah, man. I would watch it. What is up, Jay in the house? What's up? Countdown time to the episode. Hell yes, guys. It is countdown time officially. Officially countdown time. Just an hour and 45 minutes away. We got Sir Dave Zilla in the house. What is up, Dave? Good to see you, my friend. How's it going, my brother? Well, I am going well. I hope you guys are going well. I hope everybody in the chat is having a phenomenal weekend. And I hope you guys are ready to dive back into Westeros. I know I am. And we have some gifted memberships from the awesome Kiwi Skirt. Wow, thank you so much, Kiwi Skirt, for the 5 gifted memberships. Wow. Looks like Tyler Bolivar is now a member. Martin is now a member. Ricky ATD is now a member. Destellar Napster is now a member. And Madrid RD is now a member. Welcome one, welcome all. So glad to have each and every one of you here. And thank you so much, Kiwi Skirt, for the gifted 5 memberships. Now, you guys in the chat know what that means if you've been here for a while. Anytime a super chat comes through or a gifted membership, the least I can do in return is send that person a very well thought whoa. So cover your ears, guys. A whoa is on the way. Whoa! Thank you so much, Kiwi, for the gifted memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. We got Zach Tanner in the house as well. What is up, Zach Tanner? Welcome, welcome. We got my pal D-Wag in the building. What is up, Darren? Always good to see you, my friend. Longtime pal, good old Darren Wagner. Always good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a swell Sunday. Got Nancy Peters in the house. What is up, Nancy? Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. I see Vic in the building, who is also from Texas. Hell yes, Texas representing in the chat tonight. I love that. Hell yes. Hell yes. Welcome, Texas. Welcome, Texas. Do you think Bitterbridge will happen in season 3 since Rickard Thorne has been cast? Ooh, interesting. Yeah, the Battle of Bitterbridge. I imagine that's probably a season 3 event. It's kind of hard to tell with this shortened season with only 8 episodes where exactly they're going to end season 2. I know there's been a big debate as to whether or not we'll get the Gullet in season 2 or whether or not the Gullet will be pushed back to season 3. And based on some of the statements Ryan Condal made earlier, he did mention something about moving a big battle to the beginning of season 3 that was originally going to be at the end of season 2. I don't know if that's the Gullet or not, but no, season 3 sounds about a decent enough place for Bitterbridge, I think. Yeah, it's a good a time as any, I would say. Hell yes, hell yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see who else we got. Let me scroll down a little more. I see Football Infinity in the house. What is up, Football Infinity? So there will be a season 3. I figured they would stretch it. It looks like there will probably at least be 4 seasons so far. They have already greenlit season 3, which is phenomenal. Before even episode 1 aired this season, HBO already officially ordered season 3 into greenlight. So season 3 has already been ordered. It is 100% confirmed. I imagine they will probably get season 4 as well. House of the Dragon is one of HBO's biggest shows right now, and the world of A Song of Ice and Fire as a whole is probably the property that they're most invested in going forward over the next decade or so. So we are getting season 3. That's already been confirmed. I'm pretty sure we're also going to get season 4, and whether or not we'll get a season 5 or not, or whether or not they ended at season 4, that is the question. We heard from George very early on, before the show even started, that he thought 4 seasons of 10 episodes each would probably be enough to tell the Dance of the Dragons and do it justice. And it seems like Ryan Condal and George were kind of a similar mind of that. It seems like they're kind of planning 4 seasons in total. So I think they'll get all 4 seasons that they need. But if they end up needing a 5th, I'm sure HBO would have no problem giving it to them. Again, this is one of their biggest draws in terms of views and in terms of bringing in new subscribers. HBO is really invested in A Song of Ice and Fire going forward, from what I'm told. Very invested. So yeah, we got a lot of seasons of House of the Dragon to look forward to. And of course, we have Dunk and Egg Season 1 airing next year, which is starting filming right now. We got our official first look at Dunk the Lunk himself in costume, and he looked good. He looked pretty good. It looks like he was arriving at the Ashford Meadows. You can see the Ashford flag hanging in the background. So it looks like Dunk and Egg is coming along nicely, which is great. Ira Parker has been heading that one up, and from everything that George has been telling us, he's very impressed with Ira Parker and everything they're doing on Dunk and Egg, or A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, as they're calling it. So yeah, we got a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire shows to look forward to over the next few years. And then, of course, we have Aegon's Conquest, which will hopefully get greenlit pretty soon, with Mattson Tomlin, writer, attached right now, currently writing a season 1 script. And of course, we have all of the tons of different animated A Song of Ice and Fire series that are in development right now, like the Corlys series. The Nymeria series is still in pre-production, from what I'm saying, has been greenlit yet, but that's one of the ones that hasn't been fully shelved yet, unfortunately. So yeah, we got, it looks like we're going to have a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire shows to look forward to. I think it's going to be great. I think it is going to be great. Good stuff. Good stuff. In y'all opinion, is Westeros destined to stay stagnant and never grow? They've been in the Middle Ages for hundreds upon hundreds of years. There is no gunpowder or anything. Is Planetos stuck? Now, this is a very good question. This is something I've often wondered myself as well. Because, yes, from all accounts that we know, even thousands of years ago, when the first men first arrived to Westeros, it seems like they haven't made much technological advancements from then to now, which is thousands of years later. So I have often wondered about that. And part of me just thinks that this is the kind of time setting that George R.R. Martin likes. I think maybe gunpowder and things like that is something he just probably didn't want to introduce into his story. I mean, we do have wildfire and stuff like that, but in terms of technological advances, the biggest technological advance we see on the show are things like the Scorpion shooter and stuff like that. But in terms of like really big advancements in technology, yeah, we haven't really seen anything happen in Westeros over the course of thousands of years. It stayed pretty similar throughout time. And I get the feeling that that's probably just the time setting that George wants to tell this story in, is what I keep coming back to. But who knows? Maybe Planetos is stuck, as you say. We do know there has been some very weird things that have happened to Planetos in the past in terms of getting these seasons all out of whack the way they are. The way George describes it, at one point, winter, summer, and spring was a very normal occurrence in Westeros. Something happened, some kind of cataclysmic event happened at some point, which caused the seasons to become out of whack like that. Now, all of a sudden, we have summer for years on end, and then we have winter for a bunch of years on end. So something happened to the planet long time ago. So maybe whatever happened to that planet, whatever big event that was, maybe it made their advancements kind of halt as well. Who knows? I am not quite sure. But I always got the feeling that this was just the setting that George likes to write this, but likes to tell his story in, pretty much. But that's a great question, though. Why hasn't Westeros advanced technologically? Good stuff. We got Leandro in the house. What is up, Leandro? Good to see you, my friend. Still in Florida, Tampa. Tampa with the fam. Well, I hope you guys are having fun down there. Leandro, you guys will get to know much more throughout House of the Dragon Season 2 once he gets back. He is one of my awesome co-hosts that we get here on the channel. Huge House of the Dragon fan and a really great dude. I think you guys are going to really like Leandro. And anyone who's met him before, he's a really cool dude. So yeah, Leandro, I hope you guys are having fun down there. I hope you're having a very safe and productive trip. And take your time, man. Your spot's always welcome here, man. Anytime you want, you know that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down a little more. If I did miss anybody, I am terribly sorry. I try to catch everybody, or at least the early arrivals. Sometimes YouTube and StreamYard likes to go a little cattywampus on me, if you know what I mean. But welcome, Ramon. We got Ramon in the house. What is up? Good to see you as well, my friend. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Paramodion is in the house as well. I'm sure I butchered that. I'm horrible with names, but welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Judge Danny in the house. 3 years in the ISO cubes for you, Lord Crackhead. Welcome, Judge Danny. Yeah, a very old inside joke from years ago. So Judge Danny is good people. Good people. A little bit of a troll, but we like some friendly trolls every once in a while. Hell yes. Let's see what else we got. What are your hopes for Dunk and Egg series next year? I feel like this could be the next mainline multi-year series similar to Game of Thrones. Yeah, when it comes to Dunk and Egg or A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I think they'll be able to get those seasons out much more frequently. I don't think it's going to take them a year and a half, 2 years to film a season of Dunk and Egg. That show is much more grounded. It's much more self-contained. It doesn't go to a whole lot of really big and exotic locations. So I imagine, yes, they'll be able to film a series of Dunk and Egg much quicker than they can film House of the Dragon. So I guess it means, when are they going to release it? Could we get a Dunk and Egg season every year? Absolutely. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility, especially considering Dunk and Egg is only going to have 6 episodes per season. Well, at least we know it's only going to have 6 episodes in season 1. Whether they'll up that episode count for season 2 and going forward remains to be seen. I'm not sure. But as of right now, they're planning 6 episodes for A Night of this for season 1 of Dunk and Egg. So yeah, I think it's very possible that we could get one of those every year. I know a little while back they were hinting at the kind of plan to have at least one A Song of Ice and Fire show out every year. And with House of the Dragon taking a little bit longer to film than they probably had hoped, they need something to fill that void on the in-between years, and that's kind of where Dunk and Egg is coming from, and some of these other Song of Ice and Fire shows that hopefully get developed. But yeah, I think we could. I think it's very reasonable to expect one season of Dunk and Egg a year. It's not like House of the Dragon, where it just takes so much that goes into filming, so much that goes into post-production. The dragons are what take the majority of the time when it comes to House of the Dragon in post-production. What takes up the bulk of the time is getting the dragons right. You want to get these dragons right. You want to make sure the CGI is as perfect as it possibly can be. And with technology always advancing in the CGI department, they're constantly having to get used to learning how to use new technology to create these dragons over and over again. The technology has changed so much from Game of Thrones to now. So that's why it takes so long for House of the Dragon to film. It's these dragons at the end of the day that a lot of the time and money gets invested in. But something like Dunk and Egg, again, it's much more grounded. There's no dragons. There's not really many magical elements or anything. It's just a much more grounded show and more self-contained. So yeah, I think they'll be able to get Dunk and Egg out much, much faster. For sure. For sure. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down. I hope we see the Wolves of Winterfell, so it would be easier to get that content out. I would love to see the Winterfell Wolves. I think we're going to get them very soon, sooner than in the book at least. Cregan, of course, already kind of name-dropped the Winter Wolves, the Greybeards that he is sending to Rhaenyra. And they are going to be, I know I've said this dozens of times, but I truly believe it. I think they are going to be some of the biggest fan favorite characters on the show, in particular, Roddy the Ruin. I think he is going to be, depending on who they cast in the role of Roddy the Ruin, which I'm sure they'll find a phenomenal actor in that role. That's going to be a very fan favorite character in terms of his attitude, the way he carries himself, what he goes on to do, and just the sheer badassness that he displays in some battles. As do the rest of the Winter Wolves. They are, they're graybeards, but as Cregan Stark said, they'll fight hard. They'll fight like Northerners, and you are going to see that happen tenfold. Don't let the age of these graybeards fool you. The Winter Wolves are by far the most savage fighters that are fighting for Rhaenyra out of her entire army, easily. Easily. Let's pray George R. R. Martin finishes Dunk and Egg before the show does it for him. And that's another thing I've been a little bit worried on as well. And I actually did a video on that a few months back where, kind of stating where I hope we're not heading into similar Game of Thrones territory, because that is notoriously what kind of really screwed up Game of Thrones in those later seasons. They surpassed the source material, and they just, were not quite up to task in filling in the rest of that world when they didn't have the source material to guide them. And Dunk and Egg could potentially be something similar. There has been 3 Dunk and Egg books out right now, so they can at least do 3 seasons before they have to worry about getting more Dunk and Egg material from George. Because George has stated he's got a ton of other Dunk and Egg novels that he wants to write. He's got a Winterfell one. He's got so many other Dunk and Egg novels that he plans on writing. And from what he has said, he wants to get out Winds of Winter first. And in between writing Winds of Winter and starting A Dream of Spring, he wants to hopefully get some Dunk and Egg novels done. And the Dunk and Egg novellas are much shorter than his main A Song of Ice and Fire tome, so they're probably much quicker for him to write. But it does present a little bit of a nervous feeling. I do agree with you there when it comes to what is going to happen with the Dunk and Egg TV series. Are we going to get to a point where the Dunk and Egg TV series surpasses the source material like Game of Thrones did? I don't think anybody wants that to happen. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, will George be able to get some of these Dunk and Egg novels out before they get to season 4 or so of Dunk and Egg? I don't know. But it is a concern. It's a valid concern for sure. For sure. I feel like 6 episodes for season 1 makes sense. It's a shorter, simpler story than House of the Dragon. Yeah, and I mean, as much as I would love to get more episodes for every season that comes out, yeah, when you look at Dunk and Egg and you look at the scale of the story, it's much shorter. It's much more self-contained. 6 episodes. I get why they're doing it. I mean, hell, we look back to season 1 of Walking Dead. That only had 6 episodes as well. So it's capable to do a very compelling story with only 6 episodes. If you have the right pieces in place, it's definitely possible. And it seems like they have some good pieces in place when it comes to Dunk and Egg. But yeah, 6 episodes in season 1, guys. MKXD says, would Aegon III's reign be a little depressing? Jaheira commits suicide. Oh man. Fahir gets replaced by Viserys II when he comes back. Peaks are peaks. Valerian decline. Yeah, there's it's definitely not all smiles and kittens when it comes to the reign of Aegon III, is it? There is some pretty depressing moments that happen there, and very similar to the Dance of the Dragons as well, where we get a lot of sad and depressing moments. So yes, if they did do the reign of Aegon III on the show, and they kind of got into all of that, yes, I imagine they would portray it as a little bit more of a tragic reign than a triumphant reign. It's not a really triumphant ending to this war. Yes, the Dance of the Dragons eventually ends, and we see kind of both sides kind of come back together through marriage, but that by no means solves all the problems that were caused by the Dance of the Dragons. And then, of course, you have the winter fever plague that breaks out not long after the dance, which just creates havoc for Aegon's reign as well, I would imagine. So yeah, I think if we do get into Aegon's reign on the show, I'm not expecting it. Again, I get the feeling the show will probably end with the ascension of Aegon. I'm not really expecting to see his reign on the show. But if they did go that route, yes, I think it would be displayed as a little bit more of a tragic reign than some kind of triumph to the end of the war, because it just gets worse for a little bit there. It just gets worse. Will there be a Jon Snow? Now, unfortunately, from what we've heard from HBO and from Kit Harington himself, the Jon Snow spinoff series has been officially shelved. Now they stated there's a chance that they could maybe return to it years down the road, but as of right now, the Jon Snow series is officially dead in the water. It is shelved. They're not working on it. They're not writing for it. It has been put aside. And from what I have been told, the script just wasn't exactly up to HBO's liking. Originally, they liked the concept for the show because the concept for the show, the idea for the Jon Snow series, came directly from Kit Harington, as I'm sure most of you know. And it seems like George and HBO both were kind of intrigued. It seems like they liked his idea enough to at least give him a chance. So Kit Harington brought on his own writer, the same writer that he worked with for his Gunpowder series that he did on HBO a few years back. And they began writing on the pilot episode script. But apparently it went through numerous rewrites, rewrite after rewrite, and apparently they just couldn't get it right. That's what I'm hearing anyway from some of my sources anyway that have told me that the script just wasn't up to par. It wasn't up to HBO's liking, but they shelved it for now, but they did kind of leave the possibility for them to return to it at some point down the road. Because I mean, when they first announced all of these A Song of Ice and Fire spinoffs, I thought the Jon Snow series would be one of the first ones that got greenlit, just considering the sheer popularity of Kit Harington in that role. I know there's a ton of book readers who really didn't want the Jon Snow series to happen, given that there's no source material for it. It's kind of just all completely new original story, which can be a little nerve-wracking. I was open to it. I mean, I'm open to anything set in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire as long as it's good. If the Jon Snow series came out and it was complete shit, I would be the first one to call it out. But I'll give anything a chance if it's set in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, if it's based on George's characters and this beautiful world he has crafted. I'll give any of it a chance. But if it's bad, I will definitely say that it's bad. So I was actually looking forward to the Jon Snow series getting greenlit. I thought for sure that would be one of the first ones that got the green light. Again, just considering the popularity of Kit Harington, the kind of uneasy feeling that a lot of fans had in their mouth after the end of Game of Thrones season 8, and how the potential for a Jon Snow series maybe couldn't have saved the show in any way, shape, or form, but maybe it could have given Jon at least a little bit of a better ending, a better story. But I don't know. Like I said, I'll give anything A Song of Ice and Fire a chance, but if it's bad, I will definitely say it's bad. But I know a lot of book readers really did not want the Jon Snow series to happen, which is understandable. Again, I totally understand people being a little hesitant to kind of invest in something that doesn't have any source material. But yeah, I guess we shall see. Now, of course, I am going to play we have this season 2, episode 3 teaser trailer, which I'm going to play here in 1 second. And I would love to get everybody's take on it. We'll break down this thing a little bit as well. But oh yeah, absolutely, MKXD. A Summer Hall film would be epic. And that's the thing. I imagine Fire and Blood Part 2 is going to go much more in depth into those kind of events like Summer Hall, the Blackfire Rebellions, and all of that. Because George is planning on doing a Fire and Blood Part 2. Part 1 doesn't cover the entirety of the Targaryen king's reign. Fire and Blood Part 2 will take us from where Fire and Blood 1 left off all the way up to Robert's Rebellion, from what I'm told. And yeah, they're going to cover all of that. We'll finally learn a little bit more about what happened at Summer Hall, which has been a huge kind of mystery within the fandom for many years. There's a lot of really great theories as to what might have happened in Summer Hall, with Aegon potentially trying to rehatch dragon eggs and something going catastrophically wrong that leads to the death of so many just prominent big characters in A Song of Ice and Fire. So yeah, the tragedy of Summer Hall is something I think all of us really want to learn a little bit more about, and the Blackfire Rebellions as well. Like, I love that we might potentially be getting an Aegon's Conquest show. I love that we have the Dance of the Dragons. But if I could have any Targaryen time period turned into a show, it would be the events around the first Blackfire Rebellion. Personally, I feel like the Blackfire Rebellion deserves its own show. I mean, they could potentially touch on it in the Dunk and Egg series, but I feel like the Blackfire Rebellion is a big enough event that it warrants at least its own series entirely. But yeah, Fire and Blood Part 2 will definitely go in depth on a lot more of that stuff. So I can't wait. I cannot wait to read Fire and Blood Part 2. Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. Let's see what else we got. Did we get a runtime already? We did. From what I'm hearing, episode 3 is going to be around 65 minutes in runtime, which is a pretty good runtime. Episode 1 was around 64 minutes. Episode 2 was a whopping freaking 72 minutes. You know, that was a very long episode, episode 2 was. But episode 3, from what I'm seeing, is going to be around 65 minutes. So yeah, we got some, and that's what's been great. I know we only have 8 episodes, which I know a lot of us probably would have preferred 10, but at least if we are only getting 8 episodes, the 8 episodes we are getting have been pretty long in length. So I can at least appreciate that a little bit. Really good stuff, really good stuff. But let's see what we got here. I'm going to play this House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3 teaser trailer, and then we can talk a little bit about that or whatever else you guys want to talk about. Any topic, A Song of Ice and Fire related, are on the table when it comes to these streams. We can talk about anything. But yeah, here we go, guys. The teaser trailer for Season 2, Episode 3 of House of the Dragon.
Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place. When the desire to kill and burn takes hold, reason is forgotten.
We cannot hide in our castle waiting for war to come to us.
Good. To war, then.
Her son sits my throne.
There has been no word from Prince Daemon.
We must press what advantage we do have.
And what is that?
Dragons.
If dragons begin fighting dragons, we invite our own destruction.
It'll be savage beyond all compare.
Whew. Man, there we go. There we go. Episode 3 looks like it's going to be very fun. I feel like we got a lot of very interesting events to look forward to. And yes, Bloody Ben. It looks like we did spot Bloody freaking Ben in the trailer, which is so awesome. I cannot wait to see Bloody Ben. Now, we have a pretty good shot of him. Now, of course, we did get a little kind of preview of the Blackwood and Bracken rivalry in Season 1, of course, when we saw young Samwell Blackwood just do his thing at Storm's End. And now in Season 2, we're going to get that kind of rivalry fleshed out a little bit better. And here we get our first look at Bloody Ben. Ben, man, he's just such a fun character. I mean, he's so young, and what he goes on to do, and his just the way he carries himself, very, very intriguing character. And you can totally see why the fandom has been very excited to meet young Benjicor, because he's a really cool character. Really, really cool character. And in terms of casting, I know I've said this in the past, but I feel like they got the casting just incredibly, incredibly well when it comes to young Benjicor. When it comes to young Benji. Great casting indeed. But it looks like we have a lot of stuff to look forward to in episode 3. Would you want that Sea Snake series? I would, yeah. I think that would be really cool if they can get Stephen Toussaint to do the voiceover as Corlys, because now that the Corlys series is an animated series, I hope that they can at least get Stephen Toussaint to agree to do the voiceover for the young Corlys, which I imagine he probably would be open to doing. Seems like he really loves playing that character. I mean, who the hell wouldn't? Fucking Sea Snake's awesome. And yes, I would love to see that. The Sea Snake's 9 voyages are very, very famous. Some of them that we still don't even know about. So yeah, I would love to see that. And I totally understand why they kind of changed it from live action to animated, considering all of the big and exotic locations that Corlys goes to. Filming a Sea Snake series in live action would just be astronomical in budget. It would cost so much. So I understand them kind of going the animated route with that one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope that one gets greenlit. I really hope that one gets greenlit for sure. For sure. I saw a clip of the Red Keep set HBO dropped on YouTube. It was pretty cool. That was awesome, wasn't it, Vic? I saw that as well. I should have pulled up some of those screenshots to share. But yes, I saw that as well. If you guys are watching the the HBO's little mini documentaries that they release after every episode, the ones that are titled The House That Dragons Built, it really shows you an inside look at what went into filming each episode and some of the set building, the costume design, some of the things, some of the hurdles that they had to go through to achieve their desired aesthetic. And yes, they freaking built an entire Red Keep, not just a little set on a soundstage. They built an entire freaking castle, it looks like, for scenes for the Red Keep. And that's something that they really wanted to do, because I remember even during season 1, they said they really wanted to be able to have the ability to shoot 360-degree shots at any given point. And if you're filming on a soundstage that only has a very small fraction of your landscape, you're very limited in terms of camera use and angles that you can shoot things at. But when you go and build a set like that, that is legit pretty much its own castle in and of itself that they've built just to film, it kicks the door open so much wider in terms of things that you can do from a directorial standpoint, from a screen, from a angle standpoint, camera angles and such. It opens the door tenfold, where you can finally get those 360-degree angle shots, those wide angle shots that you might not be able to get if you're filming on a soundstage. So yeah, I think I imagine it probably ate up a decent amount of the budget to build that castle, but I think that was money well worth spent, because I think they're going to be able to get some really, really good shots throughout the Red Keep, throughout the entirety of the series, now that they have that awesome set to return to every year. So yeah, that was a really cool look that we saw. Vic, I agree. That was really cool. Team Bracken or Team Blackwood? Ooh, interesting. All right, and I guess this will be, let this be the first question for everybody down in the chat as well. I would love to know what all of you guys think as well. Are you Team Bracken or are you Team Blackwood? Of course, we got Team Bracken and Team Blackwood. Team Blackwood, you know me, I'm probably always going to lean Team Blackwood. They serve the old gods. I'm very much a Stark loyalist at the end of the day. And I think the Blackwoods are a little bit more badass than the Brackens are. The Brackens have some badass knights too as well. But I think I like House Blackwood just a little bit more. You know, they do follow the old gods. They got a little bit of that, first men lineage tied to them. So yeah, I think I would probably go Team Blackwood. It's just, and again, Samwell Blackwood, Enjicor Blackwood, just phenomenal characters on the Blackwood side. And of course, Alysanne Blackwood, who we will hopefully meet in season 2 as well, is just as badass as any other Blackwood, if not more, with her awesome weirwood bow. But yeah, I would definitely go Team Blackwood myself, for sure. But what would you guys say? Let's see what you guys are saying. We got one for Team Blackwood forever. Hell yes. Hell yes, River. I like it. I like it. We got another one from Crazy Sinister. Blackwood. Hell yes. Vic is Team Blackwood as well. Hell yeah, Vic. Represent Team Blackwood and Texas in the building. I love it. I love it. We got channel for Team Blackwood. It looks like a lot of you guys are favoring Team Blackwood, or most of you are favoring Team Blackwood as well. Yeah, anyone who serves the old gods, I'm going to vouch for. I am right there with you, Vic. I feel the exact same way. If you're repping the old gods, you're my people. You are my people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cat's Bar is Team Blackwood as well. Awesome, awesome stuff. I like it. Blackwood, is it even in question? It says Crazy Mad. Hell yes, Crazy. My man. Oh, Radical Z, we got one for Bracken. Okay, I like to see that. I like to see that as well. I mean, hell yeah, let your team be known. If you are a Team Bracken over Team Blackwood, then hell yes. Hell yes. Ben Warwick, no idea who either are. Yeah, they definitely are more obscure characters. Unless you've really read Fire and Blood and A Song of Ice and Fire, that's something that more book fans will know. If you only watch the shows, you probably won't know who the Blackwoods or Brackens are. They don't get touched on much in Game of Thrones, and we haven't really seen them on the show up until now, other than that one scene we got in episode 1. If you guys remember if you're just a show watcher, this is Team Blackwood and Team Bracken. In season 1, we got a small little glimpse of their rivalry. Now, a lot of us like to refer to Team Blackwood and Team Bracken as kind of the Hatfield and McCoys of Westeros. They're two families that have been feuding for thousands of years absolutely hate each other, that are both based in the Riverlands, constantly fighting over territory, constantly fighting over who is ruling the Riverlands. There's no love lost between the Blackwoods and Brackens, and we saw that in season 1, a small glimpse of it when we saw young Samwell Blackwood slew what's his name here, Bracken. So these are the Blackwoods and the Brackens, and that's kind of, again, they're kind of the Hatfield and McCoys, if you will, of Westeros. Brackens are world famous for their awesome horses. A horse! Yes, they are. And they do have the awesome horse there on their sigil banner right here. And that's usually how you can identify them. And I think that's why a lot of us got excited when we saw the season 2 trailer and we saw the Bracken sigil on that young knight there. I don't know if that's Amos Bracken or if that's going to be someone else. But yeah, it looks like we are, at the very least, we're going to be getting some kind of semblance of the Blackwood and Bracken rivalry. Here we go. Got that Bracken sigil right there. So yeah, it's coming, guys. I don't know if we're going to get a full-on Battle of the Burning Mill. I'm not really expecting to get a full-pitched battle, especially in this episode, considering what's happening next week in episode 4 with the big Battle of Rook's Rest. So I find it unlikely that they would film 2 big battles in back-to-back episodes. They could, I mean, who knows, but I'm not expecting a full pitch battle when it comes to the Burning Mill. I'm expecting to see maybe a smaller condensed version of it, or maybe they won't show the fighting at all. We'll just see the aftermath, the beginning and the aftermath maybe, because there's a lot of events to happen in episode 3. So I'm not exactly expecting a full-on, full-pitched battle. Will they show the storming of the Dragon Pit in season 3 or 4? That will probably be a season 4 event. That happens much later on during the dance. We still have a lot of storytelling to get through before we even get close to that. So yes, if when it gets to the Dragon Pit storyline, that will most likely happen in their final season, which will most likely be season 4, probably. I think so. Do you think we could see a childhood or teenager Aegon exploring Westeros during early years? Ooh, interesting. I suppose anything's possible. I suppose anything is possible. Now, the lore is a little ambiguous when it comes to when Aegon first set foot in Westeros. Some accounts say that when he landed with his dragons to start the conquest, that was the first time he set foot in Westeros. Yet there are other accounts of him visiting Westeros many other times before then. So I think, yeah, it could be very, it could be some good character development and laying some good groundwork if we see a younger Aegon kind of maybe checking out the Seven Kingdoms on foot for the first time before he goes and actually flies on his dragon and maps it out and creates the big map table that is so famous in Game of Thrones. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, imagine Sothorios in animated glory. Oh man, now you're speaking my language. Now you are speaking my language. These are the kind of things that I would love to see a little bit more of. I know a lot of these things George kind of just put on the map just so we could fill the map out, and they'll probably never have a whole lot of big narrative significance, but it's always these kind of obscure places that I want to see the most. Like when it comes to Corlys, yes, let me see some Sothorios action. Let me see some Mossavi action, which seems to be one of the craziest places on the map, with demons all over the place and witch hunters and all kind of craziness. These are some of the places that I want to see a little bit more of. I know George has said that we'll never travel actually to Ashai in A Song of Ice and Fire, but Ashai is another place that I've always really wanted to see. The ruins of Old Valyria, which Corlys is rumored to have visited. Yeah, I think the Corlys series would be really fun. And yes, the Doom would be cool as well. Now, if we do get Aegon's Conquest greenlit, I would imagine a good place to start that series off would be in Valyria with Daenerys the Dreamer first having the dream of the Doom. I think it's just a smart way to start that series off. When it comes to Aegon's Conquest and the Doom, his story doesn't start with him arriving in Westeros. His story very much starts with Daenerys the Dreamer having the dream of the Doom and the Targaryens fleeing Valyria for the small outpost of Dragonstone. So if the Aegon's Conquest series does get greenlit, I really hope it starts off with the Doom of Valyria. Let the first scene in the very first episode be of maybe Daenerys having that dream of the Doom, and then she wakes up. And then maybe we get to see the Targaryens migrate from Valyria to Dragonstone, and then all of a sudden it'll jump forward, years to Aegon's time. But at least that's what I'm hoping anyway. Who knows what they're going to actually do? But if you're going to tell the full story of Aegon's conquest, I feel like you at least have to touch on Daenerys and the Doom. It's just the two kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, hopefully if we get Aegon's conquest greenlit, we can also see a little bit of Doom action as well. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see what else you guys are saying as well. Let me scroll down a little bit. What is up, Star? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome. That's why Arya, hundreds of years later, was tasked to chase cats. Yes, Caitlin, indeed. And when it comes to the whole cats inside the Red Keep, anyway, yes, we get to see that origin as to why there are so many cats in the Red Keep. It goes all the way back to this, like you said, the Dance of the Dragons, when Aegon goes and has all of the rat catchers killed. After that happens, in the book anyway, Otto has the Red Keep just filled with cats so they can take care of the rat problem. And the cats never really leave the Red Keep. When we get even to the point when we get to Game of Thrones, we see Arya chasing the cats around the Red Keep. That's why all those cats are there. Yes, because Aegon killed all the rat catchers. It's weird. Why never replace the rat catchers? I understand right away doing the whole cat thing, but there's almost 200 years that goes by between the Dance of the Dragons and the time of Game of Thrones. You mean to tell me in 172 years or so, nobody thought to replace these rat catchers? I don't know, unless the cats were doing that good of a job that the rat catchers weren't needed anymore. I mean, save some money for the crown, have the cats do it, costs a lot less. So maybe the cats were just more efficient. Maybe the cats were just more efficient. And yes, that's how we got the famous Sir Pounce. I remember when Game of Thrones was first at its height, and there were a lot of really funny, kind of wild tinfoily theories, but still fun nonetheless, of people thinking that maybe Sir Pounce was Azor Ahai. And it was funny. I mean, some of the videos actually connected some really interesting points. I mean, it's fun theories like that every once in a while. Valyria versus the Rhoynar. That would be incredible. Like, if we were actually to see the rise of Valyria and how they came to power and them fighting with the Rhoynar, the Harpy, that could be very, like the Giscari and all of that. I would love to see stuff like that happen on the show, because when Valyria came to power, they started off as a very small shepherd colony. They were nothing before they found the ability to bond and mount dragons. But at that point, they quickly became the most powerful force in the entire world. But before that happened, they had to topple the Giscari legions, which were the big power in the world at that time. So yeah, I would love to see all of that on screen. Give us some of the rise of Old Valyria, how they first tamed dragons, how they first forged the Old Valyria Empire. Give it all to me. Give me all of that. Yeah, a whole army of cats. A whole army of cats. That's what I like to say. Let's get the whole, even though I'm allergic to cats personally, bring on the cats. Call me crazy, but I'm more interested in the past of Westeros and its history instead of sequel shows. I think I probably am as well. I mean, I'll give anything a chance, but I think I'm much more interested in the past as well. There's just so many intriguing events that are in the lore that happened in the past, both in Westeros and beyond. So yeah, I'm very much more intrigued with the past. I would love to learn a little bit more about the original Long Night, the true origin of the others. I would love to learn a little bit more about the Empire of the Dawn, the Dawn Age, the Children of the Forest and the Giants, early days in Westeros. There's so many intriguing time periods in the past that, yeah, I think if I could play anywhere in Westeros, it would definitely be in the past in terms of sequel shows that probably aren't based on a whole lot of source material. But again, I'll give anything a chance, but I would definitely prefer some past shows as well, for sure. For sure. Spice War would be in 10,000 ships. Yeah, 10,000 ships is another one that hasn't been completely shelved yet. That we are hearing that one is still in some phase of development. It hasn't been greenlit, of course. But 10,000 ships is a very interesting story. If we do get 10,000 ships, then yes, we could get a very interesting look at Valyria at the height of their power, which would be very, very expensive to film, but it would be freaking cool to see, if nothing else. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Everyone remembers the rat catcher treachery. Yeah, I mean, Sir Pounce. Sir Pounce, Castle Cat King. Hell yes. Hell yes. Who are the Roinar? The Roinar are just a civilization of people in Westeros. That one of the many civilizations that the kind of Valyrians had to come in contact with, and it's kind of tangentially connected to Westeros as well. That's why when you hear a bunch of the titles in terms of King of the Seven Kingdoms and the Roinar and the First Men and all that, yada yada. So I would love to get a closer look at the Roinar if we do get a 10,000 ships greenlit with Nymeria. Nymeria is a fascinating character. And I would love to see a little bit more about the Roinar as well. And there's rumors of all of these kind of water mages and all of that. The Rhoyne, the River Rhoyne itself has so many interesting legends attached to it. The Old Man of the River and the giant turtles and all of that. Like there's so many fascinating lore attached to the Roinar and 10,000 ships. I would love to get that show greenlit. Hell yeah. Hell yes. Let's see what else we got. Do you think anyone will take Helena seriously? She might give someone a warning and it may become true, thus a little more recognition for Helena. I've been wondering this as well because it seems like Helena has been having these dragon dreams for a very long time. Even when we got young Helena in season 1, when it was the younger actress playing her, she was still kind of spouting out these weird kind of prophetic sayings. So yes, I wonder at one point, is anyone going to start kind of paying a little bit closer attention to Helena says? Because it seems like Helena isn't the best at interpreting these visions and isn't the best at kind of communicating them as well. She tried to reach out to Aegon in episode 1, as we saw. She tells Aegon she's afraid of the rats, and Aegon kind of just blows her off like she's crazy. And I think hopefully we get someone kind of paying a little closer attention to Helena because, yes, I mean, she is seeing a lot of these events before they happen. I have to imagine she probably knows at least a decent amount of how the dance is probably going to play out. If Helena's drawings on her wall are any indication, it looks like she was having visions as far forward as Daenerys and the rebirth of dragons. So yeah, I would love to see Helena, maybe her visions get taken a little more seriously. But as of right now, everyone kind of just, they don't pay her any attention. They kind of blow her off. But if they can learn to interpret what she's saying and what she's seeing, it could save them. It could very well save them, for sure. For sure. Gods cause the seasons to mess up because of the curse, but they butt on the realm for Kingslaying. Ooh, interesting. That's a good theory. It could be it. You never know. It could very well be it. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Planetos, there's so much stuff in the lore that just hasn't been confirmed, and I know a lot of us really want answers to these things, but it seems like George probably isn't going to give us answers to some of these things. I know George has famously talked about the causing of the doom and how he never really wants to say what really caused the doom. He wants to leave that a little bit more ambiguous. Maybe he'll eventually reveal it at some point. There's some really good fan theories, of course, regarding the Faceless Men, assassinating the mages that were maintaining the fires and the 14 flames and all that. So there's some good fan theories as to what caused the doom, but George has said repeatedly that some of these bigger events he kind of wants to keep a little bit more ambiguous. So at this point, I wouldn't be too surprised if we never found out what caused the doom, if we never found out what caused these seasons to change, but hopefully we will. Hopefully we will. Yeah, the doom was an inside job. The doom was an inside job. I mean, House Targaryen is a very likely candidate to be behind the doom of the doom of Valyria as well. Based on what we know about Valyria, there were tons of dragon riding families, and House Targaryen was considered a very minor dragon riding family. And if Balerion the Black Dread was considered a minor dragon in Valyria, I shudder to think at how massive the Valyrian dragons must have been on some of the bigger, more prominent houses. Because George has said in the past that the dragons of Old Valyria were much bigger than the dragons of Westeros. So yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe the doom was an inside job. The Targaryens did stand, the Targaryens definitely gained the most from Valyria falling, with them becoming the only dragon riding family left in the world and becoming the most powerful and most feared dynasty for the next few centuries. So when it comes to who stood the most to gain, definitely House Targaryen, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Let's see what else we got. We probably won't find out what was in the letter from Dorne, the one that ended the conquest. Oh yeah, it's little things like that that I wouldn't be too surprised if we never really find out like what was going on there. The smaller things like that. I get the feeling George just wants to leave some things a little bit more ambiguous. That he's always kind of been that kind of writer. Maybe we will get answers for all of the kind of smaller things that I know, diehard book fans really want answers to, things like the pink letter and all of that. But yeah, I wouldn't at the same point at the same time, I wouldn't be too surprised if George leaves a few of these things ambiguous, I guess. A few of these things ambiguous. Damon Blackfire and Aegon the Unworthy, please on screen. Absolutely, I am right there with you. Again, the Blackfire rebellions are probably my favorite time period in the Targaryen history. Again, as fun as Aegon's conquest is, as tragic as the Dance of the Dragons is, I feel like the Blackfire Rebellions, the first Blackfire Rebellion, and going forward, that's some of the most interesting time periods in Westerosi history. When you think about all of just the fascinating characters that are alive during the first Blackfire Rebellion, it's a very rich time in Westeros. So I would love to get a proper Blackfire Rebellion show. Hell yes. Hell yes. Greetings from Portugal. What is up, Portugal? Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. I love Rhaenyra and Rhaenys. Fabulous characters, so perfectly portrayed in the show. And I must agree. I mean, the performances we have seen in season 1 and in season 2 have been phenomenal. I feel like Rhaenyra was a huge standout in that first episode in particular. Just seeing the reaction that she had to finding Luke's cloak and the severed dragon wing, just the sheer pain and torment on Rhaenyra's face. It was very, very well acted. And when it comes to episode 2 had some of the best acting I've seen probably since House of the Dragon season 1 episode 8, when we got that phenomenal Viserys episode when he enters the throne room, the phenomenal dinner speech that he gives. Season 1 episode 8 is definitely my favorite episode of House of the Dragon, but I feel like some of the acting in this second episode almost rivaled what Paddy Considine did in episode 1. And in particular, Rhys Ifans as Otto Hightower really shined in episode 2, and mostly in this scene in particular.
News of Rhaenyra's monstrous crime spreads through the realm. The great houses falter. They cannot but come to our side.
I wish to spill blood, not ink. We must act. Sir Criston Cole has acted.
And what has Sir Criston Cole done?
He has sent Sir Aric to slay Rhaenyra.
Gods help us all. And you acceded to this prank without consulting me or the council. Instead of judgment, you display impetuousness and diminish us in the eyes of our enemy, ill-considered, trifling. You never think of your father, his forbearance, his judiciousness, his dignity.
Fuck dignity. I want revenge. My father is dead.
And we are the poorer for it. He was right about you.
He made me king.
Is that what you think?
Just, I mean, absolutely phenomenal acting by Rhys Ifans in that scene. I mean, I know a lot of people like to compare Otto to Tywin all the time, even though they are two totally different characters. But in that scene, in that episode, just in isolation, we really got to see Otto's kind of inner Tywin come out a little bit. And it was good. I mean, and another thing, the facial expressions that Rhys Ifans had on display in episode 2 were freaking hilarious. If you didn't maybe notice it on the first go around, definitely when you go and watch episode 2 again, check out this scene and just keep an eye out for Otto and the facial expressions he makes in this scene. He makes some of the funniest facial expressions I have ever seen. This one's my favorite. This one's definitely my favorite. He's almost got like the Rock eyebrow going on there a little bit. But Rhys Ifans, he's just such a phenomenal and veteran actor. He brings such a commanding presence to his screen time, and having a very seasoned actor like this on set, I imagine it's very beneficial for some of the younger actors and actresses to kind of lean on and get some experience and learn a little bit from a seasoned actor like Rhys. He's just great. I mean, he's a top-notch actor, phenomenal guy, and the facial expressions just had me on the freaking floor, absolutely on the floor in episode 2. The guy was just hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see what else we got. Let's break down some of this season 2 episode 3 teaser. Now, of course, the teaser starts off with, we get a look at King's Landing. We can see the dragon pit in the background, and it looks like Aegon and Sir Crispin are gathering up their forces to depart from King's Landing. And again, I get the feeling that this is most likely set up for what is coming in episode 4 with the Battle of Rook's Rest. So if I had to guess, it looks like the Greens are most likely going to be marching towards House Staunton and Rook's Rest, and setting up the whole Rook's Rest the pregame for Rook's Rest, if you will. But we're also going to get some very interesting scenes between Baela and Moondancer in episode 2 as well, which we're going to talk about. But then we get a nice shot of Rhaenyra and Rhaenys. And I know I've said this in some previous streams, but without, it's hard to not spoil something sometimes, just considering that it's so spoilery when you talk about some of the things that happen in the Dance of the Dragons. But considering what happens in the Battle of Rook's Rest and how it kind of shapes the story going forward, I was really hoping that we were going to get a lot more Rhaenys screen time in these first 3 or 4 episodes. I just feel like we didn't get enough Rhaenys. Like, considering where the story is going, I was definitely expecting to see Rhaenys be a little bit more prominent in these first 3 episodes and give her a little bit more screen time considering where the story's going. But hopefully we'll see a little bit more from her in episode 3. It looks like we will. It looks like Rhaenys and Corlys have some interesting scenes in episode 3, as do Rhaenys and Rhaenyra. Here it looks like they are at the funeral for the Cargill twins, which we also see come up pretty soon here as well. Of course, we saw the Cargill Bowl play out at the end of episode 2, which was a beautiful adaptation of this. In terms of what the Cargill Bowl is in the books and the different versions of events that we get, I feel like the show nailed it when it comes to a really good adaptation of the Cargill Bowl. And I like how they're kind of burying them together. Rhaenyra burying both brothers together, Eric and Arik. Because we do get that line from Arik in episode 1, where at one point he considered him and his brother to be of one soul. So yeah, twins have a special connection. So burying them together just is fitting, I guess. It's just fitting. But yeah, got that funeral coming on. I imagine the funeral for the Cargill twins will be one of the earlier scenes in episode 3. It'll probably be one of the beginning scenes. But next, we get some of our first look at the upcoming conflict between the Blackwoods and the Brackens. And again, I think this is something a lot of us are looking forward to, especially with the introduction of young Benjicor Blackwood, which is a heavy, heavy fan favorite when it comes to book fans. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this here. Again, I'm not really expecting a full-on, full-pitch battle of the Burning Mill, but I am expecting to get a condensed version of it, maybe a smaller conflict, or maybe, again, we see the beginnings of it, and then it's alluded to at the end of it, and it kind of skips over the actual battle itself, maybe. But we are going to get some kind of version of the conflict between the Blackwoods and Bracken, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this on the show. It should be fun. And yes, we are less than an hour away now, River. We are less than an hour away. Right now it is 8:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means we are just a few minutes away now. We are 49 minutes away now. Excuse my math. 49 minutes away from House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3, loading up. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And oh, we got a $5 super chat from Brandon Plank. Thank you so much, Brandon, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, thank you. If the Scorpion air defense was in House of the Dragon, why didn't Game of Thrones have them built earlier when the dragons came back around? That I did see some other people asking that as well. Why weren't the Scorpions a little bit more prominent a little bit earlier on? And I guess you can kind of explain it away, whereas Daenerys doesn't come to Westeros until a little bit later on. But if that is the case, how come we didn't see any other Scorpions built in Essos when the dragons were growing up? So it is a valid question. I don't really have an answer myself personally. I think the reason why we only started seeing Scorpions on Game of Thrones was not until like season 7, I believe, 6 or 7. But at that point, that was only just when Daenerys was starting to come to Westeros. So I feel like that is a little more understandable. But yeah, we didn't see any Scorpion action in Essos for the most part. Anyone who tried to do any kind of damage to Dany's dragons had no luck at all. So yeah, it's I don't really have an answer to that. I wish I had a better answer, but yeah, we didn't see much Scorpion action in Game of Thrones in those early seasons when the dragons were much more vulnerable to attack as well. Because when these dragons were smaller, when Dany's dragons were just starting to grow, a Scorpion would have destroyed one of those dragons when they were a little bit smaller. But yeah, no, it's a good question. It's a very good question. And thank you so much for the $5 super chat as well, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. And you guys know what that means. A woe is coming Brandon's way. Cover your ears.
Whoa!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, air defense was forgotten. It was. I mean, and this is some of my problem with Game of Thrones season 8. We see how much damage the Scorpion does to one of Dany's dragons in Euron's hands when Euron just kills one of Dany's dragons, when Dany kind of forgot about the Greyjoy fleet, as Dan and Dave put it. Just ridiculous. And then we see just literally one episode later, the Scorpions have no effect on Drogon. Drogon is just going from Scorpion to Scorpion at King's Landing, just destroying every single freaking one of them with ease. And it's the inconsistency that we started to see in those later seasons. A lot of the stuff that we started to see became very inconsistent. So yeah, I'm with you there. I am with you there. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down. Most people didn't believe the dragons existed until they saw them. This is true too. Maybe that's the reason why we didn't get much Scorpion action in Essos. Again, I get why we didn't get them in Westeros. As Divine Chakra says, there really was no reason for them to build them in Westeros because the dragons had been gone for so long that Westeros only starts building Scorpions when Daenerys is already in Westeros, because that now they finally need some kind of deterrent. But before then, I kind of understand Westeros not building any. But yeah, we didn't see any in Essos either. I think the Essos is the bigger kind of question. I understand them not being any Scorpions in Westeros, but the dragons had been in Essos for years up at that point. Until that point, Dany and her dragons had been in Westeros, had been in Essos for many years. So yeah, it's a little weird how we didn't see a single Scorpion in Essos. I get not seeing them in Westeros, but not seeing them in Essos is a little weird. And to a certain extent, not seeing them in Westeros is a little weird too. I mean, Dany's dragons were made aware to Westeros very early on. Very early on, I think Westeros had to know that Dany and her dragons were going to come to Westeros at some point. So I would have been building them Scorpion. The second I learned dragons were back in the world, I already would have been building them damn Scorpions. Leave nothing to chance. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, is what I say. Let's see what else we got. I wonder who was that on Sea Smoke. Yeah, we get that little quick glimpse of Sea Smoke in some of the trailers, which is very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it could be Adam of Hull. We do know Adam of Hull is the next one to claim Sea Smoke. But then there is the whole Laenor Velaryon problem that the show hasn't really addressed yet. Of course, George is very specific when he sets up dragon lore, in terms of there only being one rider per dragon at a time. If someone else wants to claim a dragon, that rider, its original rider, first needs to die. So I am looking forward to seeing what they do with Sea Smoke and Adam of Hull and the whole Laenor debacle. I feel like not killing off Laenor in season 1 was a very weird choice. I'm not quite sure why they did it. If they were planning on bringing Laenor back for some other storyline, then that would make a little bit of sense. But if they didn't kill Laenor off and they don't bring him back, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why they didn't just kill him off, especially considering the potential butterfly effect that it causes. George R. R. Martin always talks about the butterfly effect in story. Whereas when you're adapting something, if you change something in the source material early on, something that might seem small will turn into a major problem later on down the road. And the Laenor thing is the perfect example of that. While on the surface, not killing Laenor off in season 1 might not seem like a big deal, but then it starts to present a very big problem when we get into season 2 now, when we get to the storyline of Adam of Hull. Because the dragon lore is very, very specific. Only one rider per dragon at a time. If Laenor is still alive, nobody should be able to claim Sea Smoke. So it's going to be interesting to see what the show does with that. Are they going to touch on it? Are we going to get some kind of throwaway line confirming that Laenor really did die in Essos, maybe? We did see a little while back, a few months back actually, on the IMDb for House of the Dragon Season 2. The actor who played Carl Corey was scheduled to return for one episode in Season 2. Now, of course, we're not 100% sure if that's accurate. IMDb has been very inaccurate in the past. They're accurate sometimes too, but they've been just as inaccurate as they have been accurate at times. So just because the actor playing Carl Corey is scheduled to return for one episode in Season 2 doesn't necessarily mean he will. But if he does in any capacity, maybe it could be to inform Rhaenyra that Laenor really is dead. I feel like that would be the cleanest way to kind of clean up the mess that they made in season 1 by not killing off Laenor. It's just a quick and clean and easy way. Bring back Carl Corey for a single scene. Maybe he arrives on Dragonstone and he informs Daemon and Rhaenyra that Laenor really is dead. And then you completely free up Sea Smoke to get claimed by anybody you want. And it doesn't break the lore at that point. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. What they end up doing with all of that. What is going to happen? Let's see what else we got. Hey, Jeremy, don't you think the writers for the Dunk and Egg series will have a hard time avoiding spoilers for the ending of House of the Dragon? Ooh, I'm curious to see how they'll handle it. That's interesting. That is interesting because, yeah, I mean, there is, not a whole lot of overlap, but there is some overlap there, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I guess when it comes to Dunk and Egg, obviously the HBO isn't going to let Dunk and Egg do anything that's going to spoil House of the Dragon. I have to imagine they're going to prioritize House of the Dragon over Dunk and Egg. So if anything, I think maybe they'll have to just leave some things a little more self-contained, maybe a little bit less kind of history and stuff like that. Maybe some small changes here and there. But that is a good question, Divine Chakra. That's I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I don't know because yeah, you certainly don't want to see, the ending of House of the Dragon or any kind of big event from House of the Dragon get spoiled in Dunk and Egg. And again, I don't think HBO will be pleased with that either. So I guess they'll have to find some kind of way to write around it. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how they'll handle that. Very curious indeed. We got Fur Japa in the house from Brazil. What is up from Brazil? Welcome, Brazil. So glad to have you in the chat. Really looking forward to this episode. I am as well. I cannot freaking wait. We are getting closer and closer now. We are just 40 minutes away now, ladies and gentlemen. 40 minutes away from House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3. And of course, as Kiwi is dropping in the chat, there is our link to our Discord server. Our Discord is open to anyone and everyone who wants to join. We're always in there talking House of the Dragon, From, Shogun, all of the other awesome shows and movies that we talk about here on the channel. So if you want to join our Discord, you are more than welcome. We love having you guys in there. And I always put early links to whatever upcoming content we have on the channel. Discord usually is the first to know when a video or a stream is coming out. So thank you, Kiwi, for dropping our Discord link. I appreciate that. Littlefinger staying with Sansa was the stupidity at the highest level. After he betrayed her father, married her off, and was being a creep by kissing her. Yeah, super creepy. I mean, Littlefinger definitely kind of crossed the familial uncle line very early on with Sansa and really crossed into that creep territory. And this is one of my biggest problems with Littlefinger on the show compared to Littlefinger on the book. Littlefinger in the book will never give up Sansa. I would be so surprised if Book Littlefinger would ever give Sansa up. Book Littlefinger knows how important Sansa is, both strategically and personally. So I just find it very hard to believe that the Book Littlefinger would ever marry Sansa off to anyone. It was very out of character for his character, at least for his book character anyway. But yeah, he certainly got his in the end. A very fitting end for Littlefinger as well, I would say. But yeah, as Kiwi says, absolutely, he thought he was smarter than her. He was. I mean, and that's the thing. Littlefinger was so used to being the smartest guy in the room his whole life, which in some cases he was. As flawed and as evil as he was at times, he was very smart at playing the quote unquote Game of Thrones. He was very good at playing the game. But yeah, he suffered from that hubris where he always thought he was the smartest person in the room. He always thought he was 10 steps ahead. So then when he tries to, pit the two Stark sisters against each other, he feels like it's going swimmingly right up until the point where it doesn't. So yeah, he tries to outsmart the Stark sisters, but boy, do they have his number. Boy, do they have his number. I love the sick game Lord Larys is playing with the Queen. Most powerful man so far. Yeah, Lord Larys is definitely a very interesting character, and I know a lot of people have been comparing him to Littlefinger, and there are some kind of comparisons there. I feel like they're kind of different characters, but there are some similarities there as well in terms of the kind of skullduggery nature of both of the characters. But yeah, I mean, I have to hand it to Matthew Needham, I believe his name is, who plays Larys. The actor behind the character seems like the coolest freaking dude in the world. Very down to earth, very cool. And for him to kind of step into that creepy skin and play Larry's, I wonder what that must do to an actor and to a human after all. I mean, like if you're a normal person, which Matthew seems like he very much is, just a normal, cool dude, stepping into the mindset of a character like Larry's must be a very interesting job as an actor, I would imagine. But yeah, he's a great actor. Can't take anything away from his skill. For sure. Maybe Carl actually got tired of Laenor and Essos. Maybe good old Carl got sick of Laenor and slewed him himself. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think they'll bring back Laenor. Maybe the writers can cut themselves off from dragons. The plot thickens. I don't think they can. I mean, well, because at least in the books they can. I mean, the show and the books are two totally different canons, so maybe the show won't even gloss over it. But George is very specific in the books. He sets this up for a very specific reason, that there's only one rider per dragon at a time. Because we see what happens a little bit later on in the Dance of the Dragons. When someone tries to ride a dragon that is bonded to someone else, there is disastrous consequences, like really disastrous consequences. So I do feel like George set that up very specifically for a reason. But who knows what the show is going to do with it. Again, the show and the book are two totally different canons, as George has said. So who knows? Who knows? But as far as what we know from book lore, it seems like the only way to break that bond is the death of the dragon or the death of the rider, from what we know so far. But yeah, who knows? Maybe the show will explore that a little bit more. Maybe. They were trying to get us Team Black by Rhaenyra, not being willing to kill him off. That could be it. I mean, they definitely have painted Rhaenyra in a little bit more of a favorable light than Fire and Blood sometimes does. In particular, when you think back to season 1 and the whole Succession of Driftmark episode 8, when Vaemon Velaryon is trying to take Driftmark from Luke, that kind of plays out similar in the books, but a little bit different as well. Whereas in the show, we see Daemon just unceremoniously take off Vaemon's head with no freaking word. But in the book, it's a little bit different. In the book, Rhaenyra is actually the one who orders Vaemon's death. And then she even goes as far as to feed his dead body to her dragon. So Rhaenyra in the book has a little bit more of a cruel streak, I guess you could say, than Rhaenyra in the show. It seems like they are trying to make Rhaenyra in the show a little bit more likable. Because again, book Rhaenyra does some savage things, and it doesn't seem like show Rhaenyra is going to do any of those savage things. So there's a little bit of a change there. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the show wanted to paint Team Black in a favorable light. Who knows? Who knows? My thought is that Sea Smoke will be claimed, so then everyone will know that Laenor is dead. But without explaining it, it's a little bit weird. I mean, if we just get Adam just claiming Sea Smoke and there's no explanation as to what happened to Laenor, I feel like a good portion of the fandom is going to be a little annoyed by that, just because it is pretty lore breaking. I mean, again, just with what Fire and Blood sets up, I feel like George puts that in Fire and Blood for a specific reason, to let us know that you can't just willy-nilly break a dragon bond. So that very well could be the case, though, Jamie. You might be right. I mean, who knows what's going to happen on the show? I feel like if Adam does just claim the dragon with no explanation, then we as the audience we're meant to just assume Laenor died some way. That's kind of bad. In my opinion, that's not good storytelling, personally. But who knows? Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. I guess we will have to wait and see what happens. Good stuff, though, guys. Absolutely good stuff. Let's see what else we got. I think Sea Smoke will be claimed, meaning Laenor is dead. At the same time, I don't know why they would keep him alive just for him to die off. Now, again, it's a very weird decision, yes. If they are just going to kind of kill him off screen and not even mention it, why keep him alive in the first place? It's a very weird decision. It's a decision I'm still not quite sure why Ryan Condal went that way. And especially when it comes to season 1, a lot of the decisions that they made were really good decisions. My only 2 gripes with season 1 were the Laenor thing and the Melees scene in episode 9, when Melees kind of just burst through the floor in the dragon pit, killing hundreds, if not thousands, of small folk. It's just something that Rhaenys wouldn't do, and especially when there are many other entrances and exits to the dragon pit that she could have escaped from. So those are kind of my only 2 small gripes with House of the Dragon season 1. But when it comes to the Laenor thing, I'm just not quite sure why they did it. It's if they keep him alive in season 1 only to kind of kill him off screen in season 2 without even a mention. It's just, in my opinion, that's not good storytelling. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess we will see. We'll find out pretty soon, because from all intents and purposes, Adam is going to be claiming Sea Smoke this season. We got some awesome Dragon Seed scenes to look forward to a little bit later on. I'm told right around the episode 7 mark, we're going to get some really good Dragon Seed action. Awesome stuff. I like to watch episodes by myself, then do the watch parties later. And yeah, I've often thought about doing watch parties as well, but I'm very similar as well, Cat's Paw. I just when I'm watching the episode for the first time, I like just watching it alone. That way I can kind of just sit back, pause it once in a while if I need to maybe get a drink or something, or take a little bong rip. We are very cannabis friendly on this channel, after all. So yeah, I very much like watching the first time, kind of just me, but if there were other watch parties going on afterwards, I would definitely join them. And I've gotten some requests. We have been getting quite a few requests to do some watch parties, and maybe that's something I can think about doing for the second half of the season, maybe, but I guess we'll have to see. I guess we will have to see. And this is a very good possibility as well. They probably didn't know what to do with Laenor, but I think they wrote it that way so they could reveal to Rhaenyra that they didn't kill him. Maybe, and maybe they were planning on doing something with Laenor, and maybe those plans got scrapped for whatever reason. That would make a little bit more sense than just having no reason why they didn't kill him off. Like if they were planning to maybe bring him back and maybe something happened in the scripting where they scrapped that plan, I could see that. That could make a little bit more sense, for sure. For sure. Harry the Hare and Sweet Robin, not long for this world. Yes. Good stuff. I was just saying, I was just saying yesterday, I don't have a place to discuss on Discord. Oh, well, awesome. Welcome. Yeah, our Discord is open and welcome to all. We welcome everybody. Anybody who wants to come and join our Discord, you are more than welcome to. We talk about all kinds of TV shows in there. There's channels for House of the Dragon. There's channels for Game of Thrones. There's channels for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. There's channels for other TV series like From and Evil and Shogun. So yeah, we're always having some fun in there in the Discord, for sure. Your voice sounds like UFC commentator John Anik. Does it really? I don't think my voice sounds anywhere near as good as John Anik. But thank you. If that's a compliment, thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't know. I have a tough time listening to my voice personally. I don't know if that's just a human thing. I've heard that from some other streamers as well, where they don't like listening to the sound of their own voice. I'm very similar. I have a tough time listening back to my own voice. I don't know. It's just a pet peeve, I guess. I don't know. But thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Larry's could be killed at any moment for basically using and blackmailing the queen. Yeah, Larry's is in some shaky ground. Like, he's playing a very dangerous game in terms of the skullduggery moves that he's pulling. Kind of, yeah, he's playing a dangerous game. At any given point, he could get discovered and absolutely destroyed, for sure. Playing a dangerous game. Very dangerous game. Does Larry's have a big reaction to Harrenhal? And that's the thing. Larry's kind of disappears for a little bit in Fire and Blood. But famously in the book, Larry's isn't at Harrenhal. And I don't think Larry's cares much about Harrenhal. It seems like it's hard to kind of nail down Larry's motivations because they're so kind of erratic in the books. You're never 100% sure just what exactly Larry's wants or whose side he's really on. He's one of those kind of very shady characters. But no, I'm not expecting him to have a very big reaction to Harrenhal after it happens, which it looks like it's happening in this episode. I'm not expecting him to have a big reaction personally, but who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe he will. I found it very strange that Laenor wouldn't come back, and I kind of thought about that as well, Oswin. I think it's a little bit weird. Like, it seems like Laenor, obviously, him and Rhaenyra had a very arranged marriage. They weren't lovers by any means, but it seems like they had love for each other. They cared about each other, and Laenor very much cared about those kids. Like, he really loves those kids, it seemed. So yes, if Laenor is alive out there in Essos and he hears about all of this happening, that the Greens have usurped Rhaenyra and a war is breaking out, it's very weird that Laenor wouldn't return to try and help his family. So I was wondering that as well too. And it's like, and that's why I thought when they didn't kill him off in season 1, I thought maybe that's what they were potentially setting up. Maybe Laenor gets word about the Dance of the Dragons breaking out while he's in Essos, and he makes some kind of triumphant return, which could have been pretty cool. But yeah, it just seems like if Laenor was alive out there and he does know about this war breaking out, I find it very hard to believe that he wouldn't come back and try and help his family. He does care about Rhaenyra. He very much cares about those kids. I just find it very unlikely that Laenor wouldn't return if he could. So yeah, I'm with you there, Oswin. I am with you there. Hell yeah. 35 minutes. Hell yes, everybody. We are just 35 minutes away. Well, now 25 minutes away. Excuse me. We are just 25 minutes away now from House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, loading up on our screens. Gonna be fun, guys. Going to be fun. Crispin is the man right now, second most powerful in the realm. That's scary. That is a scary thought, isn't it? Yes, it's a very scary thought. Yeah, Crispin is he's proven himself to be a very unhinged character, and he seems like he can kind of fly off the handle at any given point. We saw what happened in season 1, what he did to Joffrey during Rhaenyra's wedding. It seems like we know Crispin can kind of just fly off the handle at any given point. So yes, having someone that volatile in the position of Hand of the King, it's dangerous and it's scary. Absolutely. I'm with you there, Ty. I am with you there. And especially now that Otto is gone and there's really nobody to kind of rein Aegon in, it seems like Alicent's influence is all but nil now. It seems like Aegon is not listening to Alicent much anymore. Crispin is going to have almost free reign almost to do pretty much anything he wants. And I think that's why we're seeing the Green forces gather and leave King's Landing so fast right after Crispin was named Hand. Because he very much is the type to kind of take the fight to the enemy. He feels like he doesn't want to just sit back in there behind their walls in King's Landing and wait for the war to come to them. He wants to take the fight to Rhaenyra. And we are going to see the beginnings of that in this next episode. Indeed. I can't wait to see Daemon He is just badass, which is why everyone needs him, which is why Rhaenyra needed him. I'm Team Black, but she needs him. Ooh, awesome. Awesome. And I love Daemon, too. Daemon's a great character. Matt Smith he's just phenomenal in the role of Daemon, I feel. And I was actually one of the people who was a little on the fence when I first heard that Matt Smith got cast as Daemon. I wasn't quite sure if he had the flamboyance and the kind of attitude to portray a character like that. And then I saw Matt Smith in a movie. I forget the name of the movie, but he played this villain named Bully. It was the first movie that Ryan Gosling ever directed. Something River, it had River in the title. But I saw Matt Smith in that movie, and he was dark. Like he played this villain named Bully that was freaking dark. And as soon as I saw him in that role, then I started to think, okay, maybe he can pull off the kind of the mean streak that Daemon has. And then right from episode 1 of House of the Dragon season 2, I was instantly convinced. As soon as I saw him as Daemon, the very first scene that we get of Daemon in the very first episode, where he's in the throne room, sitting on the Iron Throne, where young Rhaenyra comes and meets him, just in that first 5 minutes alone, and that little bit of dialogue between Daemon and Rhaenyra in that one little scene, I instantly knew they picked the right man for the job. But yeah, I was a little hesitant at first. I wasn't quite sure if Matt Smith was the right fit, especially considering all the other rumors that were going around at the time. There were a lot of rumors that Travis Fimmel was also up for the role of Daemon. And Travis Fimmel, anyone who saw Vikings knows Travis Fimmel was so freaking good as Ragnar Lothbrok on Vikings. So when I heard these were the two potentials to play Daemon, I was kind of hoping that Travis would get the role, just because I feel like he would really bring a phenomenal look to Daemon to life on screen. He's got the physicality, he's got the attitude, he's got the kind of swagger. So I was really kind of pulling for Travis at first, believe it or not. But ever since seeing Matt Smith as Daemon, I was instantly convinced, and I thought, wow, how wrong was I? Because yeah, he's great. I can't picture anybody else as Daemon now, for sure, for sure. Fucking Daemon, man, fucking Daemon. He's true fire and blood. True fire and blood. Yeah, Daemon is the dragon himself. He is. When it comes to fire and blood and everything that a Targaryen is, the very nature of Targaryens, Daemon is the quintessential Targaryen. And I think that's why George had so much fun crafting this character. Like, George is asked many times who his favorite Targaryen is, and he always kind of comes back to Daemon Targaryen. And I think it's the freedom that he has when writing a character like this. And we touched on this a little bit last night in our prediction stream, where it seems like George just has a lot of fun writing second sons. Characters that are second sons that don't really stand to inherit much. These characters have a little bit more freedom. You can do a little bit more with them. It just seems like George has a really, really, really good time writing for second son characters like Daemon, like Oberyn Martell, like Ned Stark, all of these just phenomenal second son characters. So yeah, I think George really had fun when he was crafting Daemon. Really had fun with Daemon, for sure. And it looks like we got a $5 super sticker as well from Trivial Mistakes. Wow, thank you so much, Trivial Mistakes, for the $5 super sticker, the balloon and the number 1. Thank you so much. That is incredibly generous of you. And you guys have been so supportive of the channel lately. I can't thank each and every one of you enough. I love going live and talking House of the Dragon and A Song of Ice and Fire with all of you. You guys are all welcome here, you know that. And I very much appreciate all the love you guys have shown our channel. So yeah, you deserve some glitter and a whoa for that one. Thank you, Trivial. Whoa! But we are getting closer and closer now, ladies and gentlemen. We are just 20 minutes away now. 20 minutes away from House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, loading on our screens. Hell yes. Daemon was George's favorites. Yeah, he was. I mean, and you could totally see why. I mean, you have so much fun. Again, when you have these second son characters who aren't beholden to the crown, who aren't beholden to becoming king, you have a lot more freedom. It's more of a blank canvas with these second son characters. You can do a lot more with them. You can take them into interesting places that you can't really do with first sons and heirs. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like George has a lot of fun writing these second son characters, and they're all very intriguing, for sure. The man Damon playing the long game with Stonehenge, and I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with Stonehenge as well, because in Fire and Blood things play out a little bit differently than they are in the show, where Damon takes Harrenhal much earlier in the book, so that way when the Battle of the Burning Mill actually comes around, Damon is a little bit more freed up, so he does have time to do the whole Stonehenge thing. I don't know if we're going to get that on the show, though. Just based that, it seems like we're going to get some Blackwood and Bracken action in this episode, but also Damon's going to be stuck at Harrenhal for pretty much the majority of episode 3. So I'm wondering what's going to happen on the show. At this point, I wouldn't be too surprised if Damon doesn't take part in the Stonehenge taking. It's going to be really hard for him to be in two places at once, even with a dragon like Caraxes who can fly very fast. Damon being able to take Harrenhal in one episode and being able to take Stonehenge all in one episode is just a little unlikely. So if we do get the taking of Stonehenge on the show, I get the feeling they might leave Damon out of that. But who knows? I mean, who knows? I just, seeing that he's going to be at Harrenhal this episode and he's probably going to be spending the majority of the episode at Harrenhal, I just don't expect him to do anything with Stonehenge in this episode, personally. But who knows? I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. Some people don't know how to separate the actor from the role they're playing, and that is a shame. And I know we talked about this the other night as well, Vic, and you're 100% right. And we saw that play out on Game of Thrones very early on, where the actor who played Joffrey was catching so much hate, death threats, all kind of crazy, vile stuff. And it's tragic when people can't separate the actor from the person from the character they're playing. And we're seeing that happen right now with Fabian, who plays Crispin Cole. He went so far as he had to kind of deactivate and limit his Instagram because he was catching so much hate. And it's a bit of a shame. I mean, you hate to see when the fandom can't separate the actor from the character behind the actor. Because the actor playing Crispin Cole, Fabian, he seems like one of the coolest freaking dudes in the world. Like, if you see him in the behind-the-scenes features when he's giving interviews and stuff, he seems like such a freaking cool dude. And you see him catching all this hate, and it's a little bit tragic. You hate to see when certain parts of the fandom can't separate actor from character. It's a little unfortunate. But it is something we have seen a lot. We have seen it a lot. And again, with Joffrey, Jack Gleason, who played Joffrey, after he got killed off on Game of Thrones, he quit acting for a while and went back into theater and stage acting. He was so traumatized by all the shit that he went through playing that character and all the hate that he received that he wanted nothing to do with Hollywood anymore. He quit acting for a while and went back to stage acting. So yeah, you hate to see when when people in the fandom can't separate the actor from the actual person. This has been a great stream. Have enjoyed listening in the background of me playing games. Well, thank you so much for that, Zeke. I appreciate that. And that's pretty much what these streams are for. I mean, I like to go live every Sunday night around an hour and a half, 2 hours before the episode airs, just to kind of, if people want, just to give people a place to come and hang out and kill some time while we wait for the new episode to load up. So yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's what these streams are for, just to kind of hang out, chill out a little bit, appreciate the awesome A Song of Ice and Fire that we all love so dearly. And yeah, kill some time in the process while we wait for the new episode to load up. So thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Seconds are always best. I'm a second daughter and not biased at all. LOL, says Kiwi. I'm actually the youngest. I don't have any brothers, but I do have 2 older sisters. And I'm the youngest, actually, in my family. But yeah, score 1 for Second Sons. Score 1 for Second Sons. And yeah, teleportation has already been established in show canon. It has, hasn't it? Especially, I mean, when it comes to fast travel in Game of Thrones, we saw freaking Varys going from Essos to fucking Westeros to back, all within like one freaking episode. Yeah, fast travel and teleportation were very much established on Game of Thrones, for sure. For sure. I would love to see Joaquin Phoenix take on the role of Mad King Ares in a Robert Rebellion series. I can't think of anyone who can capture the descent to madness better. Ooh, interesting, Vasco. That's a very interesting pick. And I like Joaquin Phoenix. I feel like he's really good, and especially if he's in the right role. Like he killed his Joker role. That first Joker movie was phenomenal, and just to see Arthur Flick, slowly descent into madness like you described with King Ares. Yeah, I think someone like Joaquin Phoenix would probably have some fun with a role like that for sure. That's a good pick. I'd like to see him in that role. That could be cool. That could be really cool. Nice pick. I know Helena will be leaving soon, but she is another character I would like to see more of. Me too. Me too. And I like how they tried to make Helena a little bit more prominent on the show than she is in the book, where they're giving her this dragon dream ability. So yeah, I would definitely like to see them flesh out the character of Helena a little bit more. That's why I was a little bit bummed we didn't get more Helena scenes in season 1, just to kind of establish that connection between Helena and the audience and the children as well. That way, when Blood and Cheese does come around, it has a little bit more of an impact because it's happening to characters that you're very familiar with at that point. And I know we've talked about this at nauseum on the channel. But I feel like that is the big difference between Blood and Cheese and the Red Wedding. And I feel like that's why the Red Wedding will always be a little bit more infamous, why the Red Wedding will always hit a little bit harder. It's because of who it happens to. Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark, these are characters we had spent 3 seasons with, or 3 whole books with up until that point. They were characters whose storylines a lot of us were very invested in. These are characters that a lot of us really loved. So that way, when the Red Wedding did come around, it was that much more heartbreaking because we did have that established connection between the characters and the audience. We didn't really have that with Blood and Cheese and Helena, unfortunately. As tragic as Blood and Cheese was, and it is incredibly tragic, you hate to see anything happen to kids anytime. It always just adds an extra level of savageness to it. But since they didn't really have a whole lot of screen time in season 1, since the show didn't really establish Helena and the children very much as characters, I just feel that's why Blood and Cheese was never going to hit as hard as the Red Wedding did. But it was still tragic either way. Still very tragic either way. Good stuff, guys. Going to leave chat and prepare for the show to start. Everyone have a good episode, watch, and rest of stream. Well, thank you so much, Catspar. We are going to get ready to close it down pretty soon as well. But yeah, I am so excited for the Harrenhal scenes as well. Divine Chakra. It seems like House of the Dragon is fully embracing the Harrenhal curse concept that's well explored in the books. I cannot wait to see that as well. Yes, indeed. Especially with all these weird scenes we're getting of Daemon kind of wandering around the halls of Harrenhal, seemingly chasing some kind of weird phantom. I am really, really looking forward to seeing these Harrenhal scenes. I think it's definitely the part of episode 3 I'm looking forward to the most. Can't wait to see the Harrenhal weirwood tree that we see in the episode 3 still here. We got Daemon in full armor walking around these halls. So yes, it seems like they are kind of leaning into that Curse of Harrenhal thing a little bit more on the show. Either that or Alice Rivers is going to have some kind of part to play in Daemon kind of going a little kooky, I think. But I can't wait. I cannot wait. And we are just 11 minutes away now, ladies and gentlemen. 11 minutes away from House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, loading up on our screens. I hope we don't get another love-making scene with Cole and Alicent. I have seen a lot of people making that comment over the last week or so, especially in my comment sections. A lot of people are just sick of seeing Alicent and Cole. And I'm kind of there as well, too. I feel like they have established what they're establishing there. They want to show the kind of the hypocrisy of Alicent and Crispin, considering how harshly they judged Rhaenyra in season 1 to now they're doing the exact same thing that Rhaenyra did. So I get they want to establish the hypocrisy, and they also want to establish the lack of control that these two characters have. I feel like that's why they keep returning to the Alec Cole thing. They want to continue to show it because every time we see it happen, we hear Alicent say, this is the last time. This can't happen again. And then boom, later on, it happens again. So I feel like the show is trying to showcase that neither one of them have much control over their urges. But yeah, I could do with less Alec Cole. That was one of my problems with episode 1, actually. If you go back to episode 1, Alicent had around, I think it was around 22 minutes of screen time in episode 1, which in my opinion is just way too much screen time for Alicent in the first episode, especially considering how fast they glossed over the Cregan Stark stuff and the Jace stuff up north. I feel like they could have easily cut back on some of Alicent's screen time and fleshed out the Cregan and Jace meeting a little bit more. because it just felt a little rushed. And I know I've said this many times in the past, but I loved what we got on the show when it comes to Jason Cregan. I just feel like we didn't get enough of it. It felt very rushed. It didn't feel fleshed out enough. We didn't get a single mention of the Pact of Ice and Fire. So I just feel like Jason Cregan's meeting could have been fleshed out a little bit more. I was really hoping Jace was going to stay in Winterfell or in the North for at least the duration of an entire episode, not 6 lousy minutes. So I was a little disappointed with that. I liked what we got. I just feel like it was a little too rushed, and I feel like we got way too much Alicent screen time in episode 1. I feel like they could have balanced that out a little bit better. But maybe that's just my bias. I am a huge Stark fan after all, so I always want to see more Stark. So that could just be my bias at the end of the day. Who knows? Who knows? How do you see episode 3 ending? Ooh, interesting question there, Radical Z. How do you see episode 3 ending? I see episode 3 ending with a very proper setup to the Battle of Rook's Rest. Now, when we see the episode 3 trailer, it looks like we are going to be getting these scenes of Bela and Moondancer seemingly chasing down Sir Crispin in some kind of field. And we do know Crispin and the Greens do depart from King's Landing in this episode, and they will most likely be heading towards House Staunton. So I get the feeling episode 3 is probably going to end with a really good setup for the Battle of Rook's Rest, with Rook's Rest coming very early on in episode 4. It seems like episode 4, the entire episode is going to be Rook's Rest focused. Like the whole episode is going to be the entire story of that battle. And I know a lot of people have compared it to the Battle of the Bastards, which is a very apt comparison in terms of one episode being dedicated to an entire battle sequence. So that's where I'm expecting episode 3 to end. I think we're going to get Daemon at Harrenhal. I think we're going to get that Blackwood and Bracken action, plus a few other setup scenes. But I think the majority of it towards the end of the episode will be setting up Rook's Rest. So that's where I think episode 3 is probably going to end, with a nice proper setup for the Battle of Rook's Rest. I love that you keep calling him Crispin. He'll always be Crispin for me. I mean, he will always be Crispin. I will never not call him Crispin. That nickname that Daemon gave him in season 1, it just stuck for me. It just absolutely stuck for me. So yeah, I even call him Crispin, even in my episode reviews. Like, he'll always be Crispin for me. I get so many comments about that too. Like, who's Crispin? Who's Crispin? Who are you talking about? I'm like, oh man, did everybody forget season 1? How are people not remembering Crispin? But yeah, he'll always be Crispin for me. And this was one of the best memes I saw over the week. These memes that were floating around when you suck at your job, but they keep promoting you. That is perfectly Crispin Cole in a freaking nutshell. When you suck at your job, but they keep promoting you. So that was fun. That was very, very fun. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are just a few minutes away now. We are just 6 minutes away from episode 3 of House of the Dragon loading up on our screens. Oh, and I know I promised all of you yesterday that I would show this as well. We were talking in yesterday's stream a little bit about some of the mistakes behind the filming of Game of Thrones, the famous coffee cup that was filmed in Game of Thrones Season 8, and the famous water bottle. But there's one that's a little bit lesser known that not many people caught, that I was lucky enough to catch, and some other people were lucky enough to catch as well. But when you go back to Season 7 of Game of Thrones, in the episode of the Battle Beyond the Wall, if you look on a very particular frame, there is this one scene where you can see a white Ford F-150 in the background on a mountain cliff. This is one of those things that not a lot of people caught. I feel like everybody knows about the Starbucks bottle and everybody knows about the water bottle, but this was one that they kind of kept under wraps that not a lot of people caught, and they edited it out so fast. If you were to go back to HBO right now and watch this episode, the truck isn't there anymore. But there it is. I know I promised it on yesterday's stream that I would show a picture of it for proof, but there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have a Ford F-150 just chilling in the background of Game of Thrones. Gotta love it. Got to love it. And yes, Rooftop Korean, the White Walkers are built Ford tough. Built Ford tough indeed. Is there a title for episode 3 yet? No, I haven't seen any official title for episode 3 yet. I've seen some rumors, but again, a lot of the rumors that were floating around for the episode 2 title all ended up being wrong. So no, I have not seen any official title for episode 3 yet. They seem to be keeping a lot of these episode titles very close to the chest, and that leads me to believe that some of them might be a little too spoilery, that they don't want to release them until the episode airs, maybe. So I get the feeling we will find out tonight what the episode title is for episode 3. But there we have it, folks. Episode 3 is just 4 minutes away now, ladies and gentlemen. 4 minutes away. It's a type of White Walker. It's a white Ford Walker. Indeed. 7 hells, Jeremy. I'm sure Divine Chakra remembers the Ford F-150 from back in the day. It was funny. I mean, it's just one of those things that's hilarious. It's one of the lesser known kind of mess ups of Game of Thrones. Again, it feels like everybody knows about the water bottle in the Starbucks cup, but not everybody knows about the freaking Ford F-150 just chilling back there. So I was glad we were able to find that photo. And thank you, Kayla, for sending that to me. My awesome co-host Kayla sent me the photo. I could not find mine, but yeah, there it is. The official Ford F-150. The White Walkers are built Ford tough. I love it. Absolutely love it. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It's clearly some sort of magical steed. Of course, the people in the north drive Fords. They are built Ford tough. That Ford is from Atlantis. Good stuff, guys. Very good stuff. Yeah, it could just be a time traveler. Yeah, stuck in a truck. Good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But here we are. We are 3 minutes away now. We are getting so close to House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3 loading up. And Maniform is asking, where are you people watching it? I will be watching it in my living room. I do think I saw Kiwi, one of our awesome mods, Kiwi Skirt, who is just the coolest freaking mod we have on the channel. She's so supportive. She's always dropping our Discord link in there. I do believe I saw Kiwi mention something about an episode 3 screening in the Discord. It's not the best quality, but if you guys don't have access to episode 3, hop into our Discord and you can watch it right there with Kiwi. I'll probably hop in there too as well and hang out with everybody who joins. But yeah, if you don't have access to it and you need to watch a version of episode 3, it looks like Kiwi is going to be streaming it from our Discord. So hop into our Discord, join the Discord, check out, keep an eye out on the Watch Party channel, and it looks like Kiwi will be streaming episode 3. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Kiwi's the best, isn't she, Star? Yeah, Kiwi's freaking awesome. Kiwi is absolutely awesome. Kiwi rocks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, not our Discord. It's a different Discord. Oh, okay, a different Discord. All right, but there is the link right there that she has dropped into the chat. So if you don't have access to it, you can hop into whatever Discord this is and watch episode 3. Again, not the best quality apparently, but it is watchable, it seems. So awesome. That's a very nice service. Appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. But yeah, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute away from House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, airing on our screen. So I am going to call it a night right now. I am going to go get ready, refill my beverage, twist up some cannabis, and get ready to watch all things House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3. And if anyone does join our Discord, I have been thinking about doing little after shows or after party hangouts in the Discord voice chat after the episode ends. I might try and do that tonight. So keep an eye out on the Discord, on the watch party section of the Discord. If I can find some time after I'm done watching the episode, I'm going to try and go in there into the voice chat. Everybody is welcome. Anybody is welcome to kind of pop in there and hang out. And we'll probably be talking all things House of the Dragon. So keep an eye out on the Discord after the episode. And if not, we will definitely be going live for an after show tomorrow night. I don't like to do after shows on Sunday night just because there's so many phenomenal after shows out there. So if you guys are looking for some good after shows tonight, definitely check out David Lightbringer and definitely check out Alt Shift X. They run phenomenal after shows right after the episode airs. And after those streams are over, you can probably check me out in Discord. I'll probably be hanging out in the watch party voice chat for a little bit, talking some House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, and everybody is welcome to come and hang out as well. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening. We are getting ready now. It is 9 o'clock on the dot. House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3 is officially here. So I am going to call it a night. But as always, stay safe out there, everybody. Be kind to one another. And as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. And I will see you on the next one.
Gods. Kings. Fire. And blood. Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
The threat of war looms.
There is no war so hateful as a war between kin.
I mean to fight this war and win it.
I will not be thought weak. I wish to spill blood.
And no war so bloody as a war between dragons.